Hey friends, and welcome to the video. Today we are continuing our 31-day film challenge, and specifically we're going to be talking about our favorite heroes and villains. So let's get this intro out of the way and jump right into the video because we have a lot of people to talk about. Welcome once again. My name is Austin, and this channel is all about digging deeper and going further to better understand faith and film and everything that is in between. If that's exciting to you, make sure to click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos in the series or videos even after the series. I'm keeping these videos short and sweet, so let's jump into today's topic of favorite heroes and villains. As always, comment down below with your picks. We're going to talk about favorite heroes, superheroes, villains, and supervillains. So get those in the comments and let's start talking and engaging through that. I love hearing what other people have to say. So many people have thought of stuff that I just neglected to think of, and some stuff I've never even heard of or watched. So starting things off, we're going to go with my favorite superhero, SpiderMan. The Peter Parker Spider-Man character has probably been my favorite superhero for pretty much my whole life. I, somewhere at my parents' house, still have a complete Spider-Man encyclopedia that has like every single version of Spider-Man and every single villain that he's ever fought. I have all of the Spider-Man movies, of recent ones at least. My favorite Spider-Man, they're all great. They all have really good aspects to them, I think. But my favorite interpretation of the Spider-Man character has got to be the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. I love Tobey Maguire in the role of Spider-Man. Obviously, they did some interesting stuff compared to what the comic version of Spider-Man was, but I'm not a Raimi person for the most part, but I love his interpretation of the character. Even in the weakest Raimi Spider-Man movie, the third one, there's still great Spider-Man moments in it, and I love the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Here's to hopes that we might get a crossover one day and he'll come back. Now we're going to talk about my favorite hero. My favorite hero is Ellen Ripley from the Alien films. I have loved the Alien movies for a number of years now. They're one of my favorite films to check out. They're some of the greatest horror and sci-fi films around, and the Ellen Ripley character has always been a favorite of mine. Now, slight disclaimer, I've not seen Alien 3 or Alien Resurrection because I've heard they're the weakest of the franchise, and for a long time I didn't want to taint the goodwill that I had for them, but I feel like I want to check them out eventually because I've heard they kind of do their own thing in an interesting way, and I do want to see what they did with it. So I think I'll check those out eventually, but I just haven't up until this point. But the first two Alien films are absolute masterpieces. The character of Ripley has an incredible arc in each individual film, and combining those together for an overarching story between the two is even better. They totally complement each other incredibly. So that makes Ellen Ripley my favorite hero character in a movie. Now we're going to the dark side. Now I couldn't choose between two separate supervillains. I was between Doc Ock, specifically the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2 version. I love his character, love his character arc. I think Alfred Molina plays him awesome, and the Joker with Heath Ledger. Both of those are like top tier supervillains for me, and some of my absolute favorites. I think each of those characters is so complex, well portrayed, interesting, and an excellent adversary for their opposite of their hero. Now, my favorite villain character would have to be Hans Landa, which you may not know the name if you're just a casual fan of this movie. I actually had to look it up, but there's a lot of villain characters I could have gone with, but I feel like, at least this has been most recently in my mind, it has to be Hans Landa, which is the villain for Inglourious Basterds, played by Christoph Waltz. Christoph Waltz is one of my favorite actors. Actually, I don't know if I mentioned him in my favorite actors and actresses video, so amendment, Christoph Waltz is in that list. So he's one of my favorite actors, and I think the character of Hans Landa is so menacing. He's really smart. He has an extremely acute attention to detail. He goes toe to toe with so many different characters. Obviously, I said in my favorite opening sequence video that I picked Inglourious Basterds, his monologue in that film is absolutely incredible. I love his villain character. It's got to be one of the most memorable villain performances for me in any movie that I've ever seen. So that's going to be my choice of Hans Landa from Inglourious Basterds, Doc Ock and Joker from the Batman Dark Knight and Spider-Man 2, and then Ellen Ripley from the Alien films and Peter Parker's Spider-Man, specifically Tobey Maguire. So this is going to be a fun one because there's going to be lots of debates probably. So comment down below with your picks for your favorite heroes and villains. Come back tomorrow as we talk about the best movie that I've watched. Now this is going to be interesting because we're not talking about favorite. We're talking about best. So what is just from a filmmaking standpoint, the best film that you've seen? So this one's going to be fun. It's a bit of a challenge for me. It's more than a bit of a challenge for me. So come back tomorrow as we talk about that. Thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. Make sure once again to click that subscribe button so you can come back tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow.